As it relates to Form Builder, you are going to learn about additional tabs that you now have access to labeled Cart Builder and Payment Builder. And everything that we're going to cover today is really available kind of out of the box. It's nimble, it's flexible, it's browser agnostic, it's mobile friendly. So let's talk about the four out of the box experiences that after you configure Cart Builder and Payment Builder, what are the immediate out of the box pages that get created? So the first one is going to be referred to as a product list page. And a product list page is just that. It allows us to display all of the products that are available, all based upon criteria, based upon some sort of configuration, based upon data in Salesforce. So this would have the ability to have configurable fields that are displayed, as well as details of that product. The record the product relates to, completely configurable. You'll see that in another slide. When the user is interested in a specific product, that navigates them to the product detail page. And the product detail page, again, will show all of the details of what the products include. Whether it is, let's say it's a course, it'll include start date, end dates, price, descriptions, image, whatever it might be. Maybe it's a book. It'll include book description, the price of the book. Again, if it's a course, it might include how many seats are available. That's the detail page. Once you interact with the detail page, you say, you know what, I'm interested. Go ahead and add that to my cart. Then you have more of a shopping cart page, which allows you to view the contents of your cart. It allows you to view what's the cost of your cart, and then allows you to have a checkout experience, in which case, immediately as part of your checkout experience, the user can create their user so they can return later and complete their checkout. And that's where payment integration as well as discounts comes into play. So whether it's providing that membership login where I'm now a member and I'm logging in to transact, or some sort of guest transaction that would be a part of it as well. Okay. So we have those four distinct pages. So you set up your cart and you immediately have these out of the box pages available for you. Now, when we talk about Form Builder and as a natural evolution to offer Cart Builder and Payment Builder, let's kind of break up some of the features of Cart Builder and Payment Builder. So first things first, related to Cart Builder. This is an object agnostic model. You've heard us talk about that before. What does that mean? So that just means that you're not beholden to a specific type of object that Enrollment Rx is offering, right? You're not beholden to it. You can use the native Salesforce product. You could use, let's say you're using EDA and you want to use course offering as a product. Maybe you're using Education Cloud and you want to use learning programs. Maybe you have a custom object called materials and you want to use materials object. Maybe you want to use all of those objects. So for us, the definition of a product is not something we're governing. It's something that you can choose from your Salesforce object model to leverage to say, this is what my products will be. Again, including Salesforce's standard product object. You can have multiple product configurations. So you can have scenarios where you have an entire inventory of products, but you know what? Only a portion of those are available. You can have configurable filters to say start date, end dates, or expiration dates, or category of products. So when I navigate to a page, I want to say, you know what? I only want to look at self-paced programs or online programs or a t-shirt, right? I have the ability to have filters so that I can sort my shopping cart. And then again, everything that we're doing, since it's all built on Form Builder, is designed to be device, browser, and screen agnostic. So the shopping experience on a desktop, laptop, iPhone, Android device, from a consumer perspective, is going to be all the same. Then when it comes to payment integration, we have created multiple out-of-the-box payment gateway providers, including Authorize.net, Payflow, Payflow Pro, TouchNet, CashNet, Nelnet. There's also the ability to leverage other types of payment providers, let's say like a Stripe or anything where there's a post or API method. And again, anything outside of those we can talk about in terms of what that would look like. But the whole idea is that I have a seamless experience. I don't need to contact an office to say, I want to buy something. At 2 o'clock in the morning, if I want to buy something, I'm adding it to my cart and I'm transacting with the system. Now, related to payments are also discounts. So, as you kind of think about a shopping experience, you can have discounts at a product level available at percentage or a fixed amount. So, let's say you ran an event, you offered, hey, if you buy tomorrow, you get 50% off, or you get it for $200. You can design that at an individual product level. So, if you have a course that's a product and a t-shirt that's a product, you can have different discounts that are applied there as well. Now, all of this is native to Form Builder, which is really important because you're still leveraging features like Page Builder and Template Builder. And in our mind, because this is all natively built within Form Builder, it becomes a lot easier to train on. You hopefully already know how to build a page, how to construct or at least view a template. And so by setting this up, you're actually already know about 80% of what needs to be done in order to set up a new shopping experience. And of course, it's already integrated with Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, the new Education Cloud model, Nonprofit Cloud. It all lives within Community Cloud and supports any kind of custom object model as well. This is an illustration of a product list page. It has filters on the left, filters by level and subject. It has the details on the right. It has a price, has a cart. It has branding, header, footer, color scheme. And that's an example of a course use case, which is what we'll show you as part of today. But you could have, a use case where it's, let's say, products like I'm selling hoodies, I'm selling a calculator, a textbook, materials, whatever it might be. But the branding and the experience is going to be very similar. You have a list page, you have a details page, you have a shopping cart page, and you have a checkout experience. And so as part of our conversation today, the first thing we're going to do is show the front end experience. That's really important, is what's the end result of the configurations? And then I'm going to show the back end. Where does it get configured? How does it get configured? What are the prerequisites for configuration?
Yeah, that sounds great, Mark. Thanks for that summary. And just what I'm really going to highlight today is the end user experience. So what is it that the candidate would see related to these different pages in the shopping cart product? What you will notice here is that this is a portal environment. So similar to, might be using the applicant portal today. Something I just want to highlight here is that the shopping cart can either be something that you just already have as part of your form builder environment. So if you want to go ahead and, if you have DXP in a Lightning community, you can have that embedded as a page that we're looking at here. But you can also have this as a public facing site as well. And so in the use case I just described, they had their standard applicant portal already. They just set up a second community embedding this shopping cart experience, but all the data, right, is coming to the same place. Mark was talking about the centralization of data, and that certainly can be the case. So there's many ways you can kind of approach this with your institution. We're happy to kind of break that down. But here I see an option for what you'll notice here is a listing of courses, and that listing can be displayed as a grid view or a list view. So either option could be presented to the candidate. And then these filters that you see here can be defined by the business. So right now we just have some categories such as price range and department. And assuming that the related object that we're looking at, related record, has these kind of attributes on it, you can define whatever courses you want, or whatever categories you would like, right? So whether it's by school, whether it's by credit or non-credit, whether it's by certificate, again, you can define all of those. And in a public facing way, pre-filter that into the URL as well. But as I can see here, if I want to filter just to demonstrate this here, and just show only pharmacy related programs, you can see that that filter has now been applied. On this listing page, the images, the fields that display are all easily configured, but if you didn't want to show start date, end date, but instead some other sort of field or attribute to whatever record, again, you have a lot of control as to what you want to display. If I were to go ahead and click into one of these courses, such as this one, this is the detail page that Mark was referencing, where I can, have the image, the details, and then every course has a description, which lives on the related backend record. So I'm not having to necessarily go into Form Builder to update this, but it's just referencing data behind the scenes. As I look at this, if I were wanting to add this to my cart, I could click Add to Cart, and I could go ahead and view cart and check out, or I could continue shopping. So you'll notice here that I've already done this, but the cart has updated to 2 records. And if I were to log out and log back in and come back, it will remember the fact that I've added 2 things to the cart, similar to if you shop on Amazon or something like that as a save now later option. So if I want to go ahead and continue shopping, I can now click my cart. In this cart kind of scenario, you can see that 2 of these courses were selected. In this case, I just want to pick one, of course, and I can see the total and my checkout process. Now, something that we do support as part of our product is the ability to offer discounts at either a price level, a fixed price level, or a percentage-based level. And those can be by course. So as an example, if I had this course and then a second pharmacy course, if the coupon was only good for this course, coupon would only be applied to this course and then applied to the total. So in this case, and you can define whatever you'd like those codes to be. So there's some configuration steps to that. In this case, I have a percentage-based code for ERX 2024. If I hit apply code, you'll notice that the discount was applied, and now my total is $156. Now, at this point, I could continue shopping, but what I'm going to show now is the proceed to payment piece. But if I go ahead and proceed to payment, that will take me to the gateway page here, where I can enter in my details. I can see the total amount. I could pay now. I would get the confirmation. That payment transaction would go back to the Salesforce record, and then something would happen as a result. So of course, connection in this case would happen where now this person has registered and paid for this course. But again, any sort of kind of configuration related to that can happen as a result. If I go ahead and hit cancel here, the other thing I just want to mention is because this is embedded within Form Builder, you can see a history of all the courses I've taken. So, as a demo record, I have a lot here, but if you're wanting to give the candidate the ability within their portal to see, perhaps if you have some sort of integration, what grade did they get? Did they complete the course? And they can, as a candidate, I could click in here and see history of all the courses I've taken.
Yeah, and I think, Matt, we recently encountered a client that was interested as well, where one of their use cases was adding filters to different URLs for course. For in their case, they wanted a URL that filters, I forget, maybe just a certain type of course. So if you navigate back to the course offering, besides the filters on the left, could you also have different parameters in the URL as well?
You can, yeah. So similar to Events Rx, you would be able to set up a parameter in the URL to pre-filter this page, especially on a public listing. Let's say you have a link from your webpage for pharmacy courses. Even though it's all kind of part of one cart, you could just have it pre-filtered to show pharmacy only.
Right.
Yeah,
So if I just wanted to show Excel courses, because that's what we were specializing in,
yeah,
I could just have a URL that says, here's for your Excel courses versus your business certificates.
yeah, exactly.
Perfect. I'm really going to focus around the backend experience. And in our use case here, I'm showing the Form Builder RX tab, where we are going to cover Cart Builder and Payment Builder. Before I do that, in our use case, what Matt was showing a use case where course offerings were being used as the products. So before I go into Cart Build, I just want to kind of visually show, again, this is just a standard Salesforce object. In this case, it's part of EDA. which is part of the older education architecture. But the reason why I want to show it is in this case, I have 6 course offerings that are being available. If I click into any of the courses, I get details, right? This is, again, a configuration. Any field of information can be used as part of the front end experience. So the name, the description, the fee, how many credit hours, start dates, end dates, faculty, a price range, department filters, whatever it might be, can be leveraged directly from this record. And so when I start looking at in Form Builder, and in this case, I'm in the community environment called Shopping Experience. Again, it could be part of your applicant portal. It might be a different community. But when I'm looking in my case and a different community, I'm going to go ahead and click on Cart Builder. And in my mind, before I was to do this, I knew, or I know, that course offerings is the product that I want to promote. It's not necessarily a course, because a course would be, let's say, the parent record. In this case, it is the date and time and location specific product that I want to promote. So when you first click on shopping cart, in this case, cart builder, you need to create a cart. In my case here, I simply have created the cart as called shopping cart. As Matt showed earlier, you can toggle between grid view and list view, right? Grid view and list view. But if you wanted to default the option to list view or grid view, you have, of course, that ability. So if I was to default it to list view, when I go back to that page later on, it would default to list view. But I'm going to go ahead and click configure. And when I click configure, this is where you're now able to view and as well set up all of the configurations related to the cart itself. So I'm going to kind of go through this step at a time. So the first thing that we're going to look at is going to be an area that is referred to as cart builder, right? So right here under cart builder, so cart product configuration, I have the ability to add a new product object, but for now, I'm going to use the existing one just to kind of illustrate how it gets set up. So from a quick list view, you can see product name, title, price, type, quantity, criteria, and whether it's active or not. I'm going to hit the edit icon. And again, everything is incorporated here into the Form Builder UI, so that those buttons that you see here are similar to buttons you see when you're in Page Builder or Template Builder. Same experience. In this particular case, I am defining the object that the product relates to. What's the name, in this case, the title that I want to visually display, the description, the type of pricing model that's going to be available, which is going to be custom. If you're using the standard product object, you'd be able to leverage your different price books. What field of information on the object relates to a course fee or price? In my case, course fee. What field relates to quantity? In my case, seat available. What field is going to be used to define criteria of which records should be used? So in my case here, I'm using course available. It might be something like status. Status equals active versus inactive. We have a product image, whether that's a file or an attachment. Where is it coming from? Obviously, the card is active and we have a default image. So these are the initial fields of information that I'm defining that directly relates to when I click into a course, in this case, a product, I'm looking at a course. Here is the title. Here's the fields of information that are being displayed, including the description. If I go back to our cart builder, that's what's listed here under available fields and selected fields. So if I was looking at our cart and I see, all right, I have course offering ID, course fee, credits, start date, end date, and I go, you know what, I'm really missing term, right? I'm going to go ahead and click and add term to my area that says selected fields, and I'll click save. And hopefully in a live demo, if I did it right, I would now see term. Once I click back into our course, which you can start to see right there, term fall 2024. So the beauty of this is the front end experience is really based upon back-end configurations. As you add additional courses, you do not have to interact over and over again with Cart Builder. You do not have to interact with Payment Builder over and over again. You do not have to alter anything related to your cart product configuration as you start to add and subtract quote unquote products from records in Salesforce. In my case, course offerings. Now, if I go back to our shopping cart experience, and again, I'm going to go back, and again, it defaulted to list page. You can see filters on the left. Filter by price range, by department. These are areas that are also configurable as well. I have 3 filters, one of which is inactive, which is category, but I have filters for fields of information labeled price range and department, which again are fields of information related to course offering. So if I wanted to set up a, here's all the professional development courses that you can register for, you obviously are creating the records themselves, and the products and the carts themselves are just looking at the data in Salesforce. So in this case, I have price range as a filter that's defined as a pick list. We can define the order of that filter. So what appears first versus second, field type, etc. And of course, you can always add additional filters against any kind of pick list field or multi-pick list field related to the object that relates to your cart, which again, in my use case, is called course offerings. Now, you could have multiple products related to a single shopping cart. So again, I'm not going to go through the entire process, but in terms of adding new product objects, if I wanted to add, let's say I had a product object called material or materials, and I had fields of information related to the title, related to description and quantity and criteria, right? I'm simply selecting the fields of information that eventually I'd want to display when it came to this new type of product called materials. So I have course offerings and I have materials in the same shopping cart experience, which just means that you'll have filters on the left. You'll have the ability to have different URL parameters to say only show materials versus only show carts. Okay. That's what is related to your product configuration and your filters. Now, once a transaction is being made, this is where you start to interact with some of the cart objects that relates to a Form Builder RX, which in this case relates to transactions. So in terms of an order, if the course offering is the product, then the actual offering, in this case, what record gets transacted with, can be additional objects. In this case, we have an object called user order. And user order just is, think of a deli counter. It's the ticket that you're pulling when you're at the deli counter. That is an order. So when someone says, I want to purchase, in this case, a specific item, criminal law, and it goes into my cart, if there's space available, right? If there's some sort of availability for that, what happens is that starts to create an order. And as that creates an order, that order has a status. And that order eventually becomes an order item, which then relates to the actual transaction. And if there's any discounts, as Matt showed earlier, there's actually discounts and coupons. Again, any object that you would like that defines those items can be incorporated. Okay. So this is your cart configuration.